Hello, and welcome to Rocket Fuel, your daily update of everything that's happening in the Rocket Pool community. My name is Wack. Today is February 20th, how the time has flown, and today's episode is going to cover rETH, the peg. We've been talking about that a lot recently, but there's been some progress. We're also going to be talking about Ronin minting rETH. We're going to be talking about Uniswap having some incorrect messaging on their exchange. We're going to talk about Liquity, Docker, the all-core devs core summary, and a whole lot more. So let's get started.
10, 9, ignition sequence start, 6.
So the only place to begin today is this update about the peg, and the peg is looking quite strong. Not only, were we back to peg, there was also this scenario where the buffer was getting filled up again as well. So that buffer gets filled up when a node operator leaves the node set, and what they're doing is that the ETH that's getting distributed, it is, instead of being arbed away, it's just going into the buffer. So that is actually really nice. It means that in the secondary market it wasn't worth arbing it away. And that is, I think, because of Adorable Raccoon, but also I think another person was exiting as well today, and they were just exiting into the buffer basically. So there was 131 ETH in there, and that means that if someone wanted to sell their rETH, instead of selling it on the secondary market at a discount or a premium, they would be able to sell it into this buffer, and there wouldn't be necessarily the need for a premium because it could get arbed away, and there wouldn't necessarily be the need for a discount because it could get arbed away, but that was getting filled up. So this was really nice. Halula, as in is posting this, also added, Jasper, if you tweet about this, you'll need to add the "and it's gone" gif. So this was kind of like my joke yesterday about how we are off peg for now. On peg for now. The dynamic will be that it'll still fluctuate for a few days or weeks. Probably wouldn't actually reach like a longer term equilibrium until we get protocol level exits and redemptions, or the market fundamentally shifts in one way or another, where we have a huge inflow of rETH, and then we'll be node operator will have to get node operator Q will get eaten through, or there's some market sell off or something, and then we'll be massively off peg to the downside. We don't often stay in equilibrium positions for long. We vacillate between one extreme to the other. So as things are getting sorted out, then that's what things are looking like right now. And if you actually have a look at the peg, just like a little while ago, it's a discount of 0.043, which is comparable pretty much to Lido, just a little bit more of a depeg than Lido. And when you look at Swell and Coinbase, they've got much bigger depegs. They're like 0.25%. And XRETH is actually like pretty much back to peg as well, just less than 0.5% of a discount there. So that's actually looking quite good, looking quite healthy. As long as we stay at peg, then good things will keep happening. And actually, we did get something good happening today as well, which was deposits coming into the deposit pool. And you can see here that today we have had yesterday we had 300 ETH worth of deposits, and today we've got another 300 ETH worth of deposits. So this is kind of like my hypothesis that as we're staying closer to peg, then people will mint rETH through the deposit pool instead of going to the secondary market, and that is giving a much healthier growth for people in the queue. What's really funny actually is I saw a bunch of node operators saying that they might spin up more mini pools now that it looks like the queue is moving, and they're not just stuck for an uncertain amount of time. But that's actually looking quite nice now. So good stuff. Let's actually have a look at what the queue is. So just give me a moment. Let me get that up right here. And yeah, we have 273 validators in the queue, and the longest that anyone has been waiting for is 21 days, which is not actually too bad, all things considering, especially when you consider that you can start validators at pretty much under 1 GWE of gas right now. That just tells you that the amount of time before you become profitable is much less, so you can sit in the queue for a bit longer waiting for that to happen. But that's looking really, really good. Okay, let's move on to some rETH news now. I know we've been talking about that a lot. And here we have SSJT to Spartan, who we know as the depressed bankrupt director on Discord. Spartan here works with Alpha Growth, who are the business development team hired by the GMC to promote rETH across the wider crypto ecosystem. And he has an update here about what's going on. He says Ronin and Avalanche are exploring the idea of minting rETH and bridging the LST to their chain. Ronin have expressed minting $3 million in USD in rETH to bootstrap liquidity on their chain and slowly mint more with the success of the campaign. This would be highly beneficial for rETH, as it would have a first mover advantage of ETH LST on these chains. I propose the DAO should create the rETH contract address on all new chains rETH is implemented in going forward. And then there's information about how this chain is Chainlink CCIP and how it's all working. There's some diagrams here that Val provided, like what native bridges, what fast bridges are, what native bridges with helper fast bridges are, and what native bridges and competing fast bridges, please know like what that looks like as well. So Val was sharing kind of some information, and then about the token standards that might be able to be used and what the benefits of those are and what some of the difficulties are, and where things might be going with this. Val then had some feedback saying that I'm generally open to discussion around bridge options. For Ronin in particular, it seems like CCIP is their native bridge, so there's not even a trade-off happening. I suggest some structure there, here. I think you're actually proposing many different but related things, like using CCIP for Ronin, using CCIP for Avalanche, use mutable contracts for CCIP token output tokens, and charge users a fee for CCIP bridging. That would make a revenue stream, but it may increase friction. So he says, I'm a clear yes on 1, and I don't know on 2, 3, and 4. He says, I do feel like we need to correct a couple of things. And then he has some more feedback here about how it's all looking. So if you want to read the full information, then have a look at the couple of posts. There's no more replies at this moment in time, but maybe something good will come from this. So I'll definitely keep you all up to date with what's happening with that. Okay, a lot of you guys use Uniswap to swap your tokens. You should stop doing that. You should not use Uniswap. You should be using CowSwap. Anyway, on Rocket Fuel a couple of days ago, we talked about how Uniswap is bringing up a flag saying that this basically rETH can be ruggable, and the sell fee that it charges is 100%. So this token is unsellable. That is obviously not the case. That's wrong. So Jasper kind of put Uniswap. Well, what happened is the last time I covered this on Rocket Fuel, it was that Mav was going to be reaching out to the right parties, kind of talking to them about fixing this mistake, and nothing happened quickly. Maybe these things just take a little bit more time from their side. So Jasper was like, I'm going to put them on blast. So Jasper put them on blast on Twitter here, saying that Uniswap is currently spreading false information about Rocket Pool's rETH. The rETH contract is immutable and has not changed since 2021, and there is no 100% fee. Rocket Pool and Uniswap have collaborated on incentives on numerous chains. What's going on, Hayden Adams? That's of course the founder of Uniswap. So then we got a couple of people tagging the correct person. So here, Nico Kampuris was tagged in the post as well. I guess that's a person who works at Uniswap. And then Nico actually replied here by saying, this is an error on Blockade side. I'm bumping this to them ASAP. Jasper says, thank you for the prompt response. And he says, yes, of course. Sorry for the inconvenience here. So it looks like they made a mistake in adding rETH to this list, and hopefully it will get fixed soon. I don't know when exactly that will happen, but hopefully it won't be too long until that's fixed. Okay, Liquity, as we've talked about a whole bunch of times, have started their V2, and they have integrated rETH from day one, which is awesome. A whole bunch of rETH was deposited here, but there was a problem with their stability pool, in which there was a bug, so it was going to be redeployed. So here there's an update on their redeployment saying a fix for the issue in the stability pools raised regarding Liquity V2 is in development and orders are scheduled to begin at the end of next week. So in about 10 days time, I guess. Liquity V2 will be redeployed and users will be encouraged to reopen their positions on the new contracts. What does this mean for current users? So Liquity V2 stability pool depositors should close their positions and immediate action is strongly advised. There's an issue that could result in loss of funds held in these contracts. Then if you're a borrower, you should close your loan while liquidity conditions for Bold remain favorable. If you're a Bold holder without a loan position, you should sell their Bold. There's more information below. If Bold is above $1, then Bold holders should consider selling their Bold using Curve, Uniswap, Balancer, or a DEX aggregator. Provide single-sided liquidity on Uniswap in ranges which they find attractive, and setting limit orders on aggregators like CowSwap. And then there's a disclaimer as well saying that, be careful what front end you're using. Liquidity don't have their own front ends. So yeah, there's Liquidity V2 is going to be redeployed. So at the moment, there's nothing to panic about. But if you're in the stability pool, withdraw your funds ASAP. Okay, let's move on to some staking news now. And some of you use Docker for your image management on your node machines, and there is a problem with the latest version of Docker. That's 28.0.0. Be careful. It looks like there are some breaking network changes internal to Docker, and it looks like it's breaking some people's machines. So if you are using Docker, please do not upgrade to this latest version. Wait to see what's happening. And then there's some information here. So there's this version number, and after updating, the person realized that their over the network doesn't work anymore, or rather only connects the ports on the same host. And downgrading the engine's version solves the problem. It says are there any patchworks, etc. So it looks like people are talking about this. I'm expecting this to be fixed quite quickly. So keep that in mind. But if you are having any issues with your node and that happened after you updated Docker today, then just go downgrade a version and you should be okay. Okay, moving on to some Ethereum news now, and here we had this update from Nixo about today's all-core devs call. So Nixo says today's all-core devs call spoke of the hardware requirements again, so there's going to be an EIP finalized in a week, and Nixo says my suggestion was that we aim to keep validators net profitable after hardware costs within 6 to 12 months, and currently it takes 4 months to make up hardware costs. So Nixo says there was pushback today on that suggestion because what if LSTs push up to 99% staked ETH and rewards go to 0? We can't be expected to decrease the hardware requirements. Nixo says first, this legitimate flaw in the proposal, but second, suggests to me that Ethereum researchers have decided it's inevitable to have to optimize the network for the eventual scenario that it won't just be economically rational to run a validator unless it's professionally as a LST operator. And then Nixo says, if that's the direction we're going in, we should at least be aware and explicit that it's where we're headed. Our current trajectory leaves us with an LST-only scenario, and nodes run from home are purely hobbyist or development-related endeavors, and certainly not profitable. In my opinion, we should be choosing where we're headed, not let our network's direction be defined by capitulation or inability. If this is where we need to go, then that's that, and we should be explicit about it. If it's not a good direction, then we're not being forthright about lacking the creativity to develop a solution that keeps solo stakers existing. And then Nixo finishes her post by saying, with inclusion lists and the ability to run zero reward nodes from home, it certainly doesn't kill Ethereum's original intent of censorship resistance and universal auditability, but it does look a lot different than what it was aiming for with at-home validation. This kills the solo staker. So Jasper actually had a really interesting point, and this discussion was going back and forth quite a lot. So I'm not going to go over all of it, but there was a lot of feedback on this post. I'm just going to focus on Jasper's, so you can read the rest of the comments. Like I said, there were a lot of comments here, but I'm just going to focus on Jasper's comments, of course, because Jasper is part of the Rocket Pool community. So Jasper, first of all, he says, I don't follow. Our current trajectory leaves us with an LST-only scenario and nodes run from home purely hobbyist. He says home staking at max will offer 3% APR. But then the main crux of the discussion that started with Jasper here was, Jasper saying the argument doesn't make sense. At max stake, the APR is still 1.5%. That's still plenty to earn back hardware costs. Who do I have to yap at about this? And then Nixos says, I think Dankrad's pushback was accounting for changes in the issuance curve where rewards go to zero, and was essentially saying that equilibrium yield will settle at 0% and maximum stake. And Jasper says that's so backwards. That's the exact reason not to change the issuance curve. And then he says, do you have anything to add, Dankrad? Issuance changes that hit 0% issuance at any point in the curve is what will drive away home staking, nothing else. And then Nixo says, to be clear, I support changes in the issuance curve, and I think the current one incentivizes LST dominance over vanilla ETH, but I also think it should be coupled with research on how to incentivize nodes that have a small number of validators running on them to combat the economies of scale. Now, that's the Sybil attack defense, and as far as I know, there's very little to do. There's very little that we can do to combat Sybil attacks. Anyway, Jasper goes on to say, I haven't seen any research to support that. It can be profitable for home stakers over centralized exchanges with the issuance changes proposed. Anything that can go to 0% return will approach it. Anti-correlation penalties depend on downtime, right? And then over here, like Oshin from Obol was saying that almost everyone is open to changing how rewards and penalties work, but I'd appreciate it if you distinguish playing caps from viable solutions. Correlation penalties and MEV burn have near unanimous support and are both good for solo stakers. Caps kill the solo staker. And then Dankrad actually got involved in here as well. Like I said, I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but I'm not sure where Dankrad's comments are. So yeah, you can dig around here and find the correct comments, but there's a lot here, and this is like kind of mashing together a few different discussions all at once. So definitely check that out if you're interested. It got a little bit interesting at times, and even in the Rocket Pool community, when Jasper shared Nixo's tweet, there was a facepalm emoji by Noshua, and there was a Harold emoji by Dr. Doofus, and Samus was commenting on the right way, saying it's like they have identified the issue with an issuance curve that goes to zero, and instead of seeing that and questioning if issuance should go to zero, they decided it's better to just give up on homes and solo staking. Ishka says, what if LST dominate? Quick, make solo staking unviable. And then Samus's home staking can still be profitable even if solo staking isn't. With CSM or with Rocket Pool, you can get multiples of solo staking rewards. Non-fungible Locum says someone should come up with a way to make that happen. And of course, Rocket Pool have come up with a way to make that happen. Then there's a whole bunch of discussion here back and forth. So like I said, it's a little bit too much for this video, but the links to the tweet and the comments in Discord are linked below, so you can go and read through all of that at your heart's content. Okay, moving on to some Ethereum news now. We had some interesting news here from Blockchain Association, and they are a collective voice of crypto industry, and they are quite Ethereum aligned as far as I know, and they're saying that today marks a complete victory for us and the broader industry in our lawsuit against the SEC over the dealer rule. The SEC voluntarily dismissed its appeal of the lawsuit over the dealer rule brought by us and Crypto Freedom Texas, Crypto Freedom Transactions. Yeah, Alliance of Texas, Crypto Freedom Alliance of Texas. That's right. So they said that, we challenged the SEC's dealer rule in April last year, arguing the SEC's misguided attacks against the industry amounted to arbitrary and capricious rulemaking. And then in short, the rule threatened to harm the burgeoning digital asset industry and stifle innovation. A district court ruled in our favor last November, but the SEC appealed. And today, under a new leadership at the agency, the SEC voluntarily dismissed this appeal, marking a total victory in the case, not only for us, but for the innovators, entrepreneurs, and builders across America. So this is one of the first actions taken by the current SEC that kind of undoes the actions of the previous SEC, under Gary Gensler, of course. And I think we're going to be seeing a lot more of these kind of untanglings of the legal web that the SEC had woven. Some of the things like this, like appeals from the SEC, they're going to be the easiest to dismiss. The SEC will just, withdraw their appeal and saying that, we're happy for Blockchain Association to win. With others where the cases are ongoing, I think it's going to be a little bit more difficult to extricate themselves, but I'm sure that, there'll be settlements reached and slaps on the wrist, and, that'll be that. As we've been hearing from people like Hester Pierce, this SEC isn't as worried about being as hands-on with crypto as the previous SEC was under Gary Gensler. And I think other than areas of fraud, they're going to try to set the rules for the for crypto industry, and then like take things from there. So this is definitely a very interesting development. So that's pretty cool. If you are a big time yapper, if you are someone with a social following or someone who is really good at tweeting, and if you know Ethereum inside and out, there's a job available for you at the Ethereum Foundation. So here, Josh Stark originally put out this ad saying, we're putting together a team, come be a part of it as a social media manager at the Ethereum Foundation. Tim Byko said, come and help the Ethereum Foundation yap better. So what is the job? It's a social media manager. So manage all of the Ethereum Foundation social media accounts day to day, work with the EF leadership and team members to refine how they use each type of account, track developments across the entire Ethereum ecosystem, and identify key developments to signal boost and valuable stories to tell, and organize complex social media campaigns, which may involve large numbers of contributors and stakeholders. And over time, you will contribute to adjacent comms and community related projects in addition to the core responsibilities. So now, what qualifications do you need? You need to be able to write clearly and concisely. You live and breathe the Ethereum ecosystem, especially apps. You know X well and are familiar with Farcaster, Lens, Blue Sky, Facebook, and LinkedIn. And you've managed high profile accounts with over 10,000 followers before. So if you meet that criteria, if you meet those criteria, then get in touch and apply for this job, and you could be running the Ethereum Foundation social media accounts very, very soon. I think this is a really great step in the right direction. We've been begging for better engagement from the Ethereum Foundation Twitter account, and it looks like the Ethereum Foundation has heard us and are going to start fixing that. And finally, we're going to enter this episode with some good news here from VanCaspel, who's a member of the Rocketbook community, saying, today is the day my first child is slated to arrive. Perhaps a birthday pump is in order, although with how quiet things are, I think it'll be a while longer. But yeah, so VanCaspel is about to have a baby. Well, I guess his partner is about to have a baby, but that's really, really nice. So happy day to the VanCaspel family, and I hope that the baby arrives safely and baby and mom are all doing well with everything that's going on. But on that note, I'm going to end today's episode. So thank you all for watching, listening, and being part of the Rocketfield community. I hope you all have a lovely day ahead, and I'll see you all tomorrow. Bye.